Thomas,
Yes, Adrian.
we have a sponsor. We have a sponsor.
We have a sponsor.
Yeah, we have a sponsor. Well, Days fans, Revo Fitness are on board. And look, I'll be honest, when I heard $9.69 a week with no lock-in contracts, I thought there had to be a catch, but there isn't.
There's no catch.
No catch, Robbo?
There's no catch, mate.
No catch. Thanks, Marker. Anyway, full gym, everything you need, free weights, pin and plate, cardio, functional training, and it's open 24/7. No dodgy fine print. For $3 more a week, you get unlimited Pilates, massage chairs, and eVolt body scans thrown in as well. Like, mate, just join.
I'll think about it.
Okay. Clubs are already all over Australia, so chances are there's one near you. Check it out at revofitness.com.au. That's revofitness.com.au, or sign up in club. Revo Fitness, genuinely good value. I promise I wouldn't lie to you.
It's too late for me. The disease I've got will kill me. I apologise for the way I talk, but it's part of the disease. The beast of a disease because there's no treatment and there's no cure. It doesn't kill you quick, it kills you slowly. It kills you by slowly paralysing you. It'll get to a stage where I can't swallow, I can't speak, and I can't breathe. In the football context, it's the same, okay? Lost a few games, you're not going to die, but you don't lie down. It might get me, but I'm a fighter. Live with hope. Have a strong vision where you're going. My vision, closed off is the world without MND. I'll get there. I might be 6 foot under, but we'll get there. Thanks for listening.
Oh, there we go. The great words from the late, great Neale Daniher. That gets you. That really, really hits you hard. It hit us all like a ton of bricks earlier this week. We knew it was all going to happen. We all knew. But it was still heavy in the heart. I got a message from Mark Jenkins, who used to be on the board. Once upon a time, a shout out to the great man. And I was out in the backyard just having lunch, having a little break, working from home, and got a bit teary, to be honest with you, Zorks. I think as Melbourne supporters, Neale Daniher is someone that we put on one of the most deserved of pedestals. And it really got to me. Wife came out, Fee was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Nah, I'm actually not all right. Neale Daniher's just passed." And she was like, "Oh, shit." And I think that overwhelming feeling of sadness just speaks volumes about the impact of Neale and what he's done. We're talking about someone that was given 27 months to live, and he thought, you know what, stuff that. I'm going to live for 13 years. So he stuck it to the beast that is MND, and his legacy is, it's insurmountable. It's on a different planet. And we thank him for galvanising a country. I also just am very thankful that I got to live in a day and age where he was the coach of our football club, took us from an absolute rabble at the time to an ultra competitive outfit with a never say die attitude, which at a time was probably at the height of my fanaticism as a Melbourne Football Club supporter. Like when I was a teenager, they were some of my happiest years. 04, 05, 06, I cherished those years. 98 when he came in, still a little bit young, but again, we bounce from the bottom to a prelim. We had the incredible run that I'll never ever forget as a primary school student, getting to the 2000 grand final. And we owe Neale a lot for the memories as Melbourne supporters when he was coach, but then all of the life lessons that we learnt from Neale with everything that he did around Fight M&D is just, it gives me goosebumps listening to that. I get really emotional when I think about Neale. But the other thing is I draw a lot of inspiration from him, and I've spoken about that a lot over the journey about just getting up and getting on with it. Not whinging, not moaning, not complaining. It very much is that old country farming mentality, just to keep going. Life isn't fair. I actually learnt that lesson from my granddad. He was on the share farm with us where I grew up. And Neale Daniher channeled that as well. Like, it isn't fair. And he was dealt with the worst possible cards in terms of getting MND. But instead of wallowing, tail between your legs, he decided that I'm going to create awareness. And I don't think he ever thought the Fight M&D organisation would get to the place that it's got to, and the way that it's rallied a nation. And for that, I'm forever thankful again to just live in this time and this day and age where someone like Neale Daniher, even though I've only had a few fleeting occasions meeting him and speaking to him in different eras, to be honest, when I was 16 and later in life when I was about 25, 26, I'll still hold them close to my heart. And he will always be with every Melbourne supporter until the time we pass, because he's one of the people who is the fabric of this football club. We've had Jim Steins, Robbie Flower, Ron Barassi. We've had some incredible Melbourne Football Club people, and he is right there with all of them. And again, thank you, Neale. We love you dearly.
Yeah. Really good words, 80. Apologies about that. You mentioned his legacy, and his legacy is ongoing. And the beauty of it all is, if anything, it's stronger this week than it was last, and it will be next. And it'll continue to be that way. Often in life, you think you might be defined by certain chapters. Neale might have, found that his definition of who he thought he was and what his path was to be a footballer or someone within the football community. And as he mentioned, the decision was not his, but what he did with that decision absolutely was his. And through that, he realised his much higher purpose beyond footy, which is everything he's obviously done in the past 13, 14 years. So, we've all got our own versions of that beast, right? If there's something we can learn from Neale, whether it's obviously something along those lines, whether it's a change in life that was against your will, whatever it may be, we all have a beast, and it's really what we can learn from Neale is it's up to you how you define that relationship. And I could tell you so many moments in the last decade that have just given me such optimism, hope, inspiration from hearing him communicate. And I'll say I can barely remember anything he said as a coach now. And I think that speaks to the gravity of what is achieved and what his family and MND will continue to achieve, 80.
Well said, Zorks. Nick, I'm going to come to you because you were on with Gary and Tim the other morning. I watched that whole entire segment. Tim Watson was very, very emotional, like a lot of us. And I thought the way that Gary and Tim spoke about Neale was beautiful, to be honest. It was awesome. I love some of the gags and the jokes in there about Neale. As a coach, he wasn't a warm person. Apparently he was a cold, hard bastard, but it's exactly what the Melbourne Football Club needed at the time. What was it like for you just producing and being in and around those two men when they spoke about Neale?
Yeah, it was pretty surreal seeing two people that were so close to him share those moments in radio. They were obviously still very much mourning, and they composed themselves really well to produce what they did on that show. And we exchanged some words afterwards just to say like would not have been easy, and they should receive some fantastic credit for the way they conducted themselves. And how they were able to honour Neale. I think the most touching thing that came from that chat, both as a producer but also just as a regular listener, a pundit, was just how Neale wasn't really one to enjoy the limelight throughout his coaching days and his playing days. He was a little bit reserved and just wanted to have his own privacy at time. And it would have been very easy for him to have illustrated that after being given this horrible disease, but he decided to instead be public about it, be an inspiration to so many people. And that's very hard to do when you're the type of person that wants to stay private and spend as much time with your family when you get given a death sentence like that. So for him to turn that into a public rally to get as many people aware, I didn't know anything about MND until he started coming out and sharing it with us and turning it to what it is now with the Freeze MND games each and every year. And the only thing that, you can sort of really say, particularly from a Collingwood supporter point of view, is just how much he has been able to help grow that event each and every year. And it's going to be very, very strange and sad not to see him out there in a couple of weeks' time around, because it's one of the best things about that afternoon of football. It's not even about the footy, really. It's just recognising what he's done, the great contributions he's brought to the football community and the global stage. I mean, he was an Australian of the Year. I mean, too late in my opinion, but at the same time, for him to have been given that honour is it's almost underwhelming with the amount of work he's done. So he's going to be missed, and just to see how much he meant to so many people, it's very touching, and he was a great man, and I'm sure we'll acknowledge him accordingly in a couple of weeks' time.
Well said. Looking forward to next week's episode. I think a celebration of the great man. We'll look to potentially get a few of the older boys on the podcast if we can, those who are actually coached by Neale and had an influence on Neale. So we'll reach out and we'll see if we can get them to drop in, maybe on a video call with us for 15, 20 minutes. And next week is very much a celebration of Fight MND and the continued efforts to try and find a cure. And I commend the Collingwood Football Club, and I've said it many times before as well. Like, they have been amazing at rallying behind it, and without Collingwood's support on the day, it wouldn't be what it is. Let's be frank. So I think there's a genuine respect between the two clubs, but I really want to win that one.
Yeah, we definitely want that.
I really, really want that one.
If there's one you win, it'll be that one.
Yeah, it's almost like, just give it to us.
Right.
Just give it to us.
Right.
So no, it'll be good next week. We'll certainly do more of a tribute to Neale in the build up to Big Freeze 12. We'll be donning the beanies, and we'll be getting into it like we always do every single season. But we'll take off the cans for now. We'll get back to the current day matters of our football club Zorks.
Let's do it.
We lost a close one last week.
We love you, Neale.
We lost a close one.
We did.
So the doggies.
The doggies. Footscray.
I mean, look, I don't want to be the guy. But we were at an event last week with the Demon Army.
Yes.
And Cameron, you were very cocky. Yeah, Alex.
Me too.
Very cocky.
Very.
Cam said 40 plus. And then I think you said similar areas. And then they got to me on stage and I said, I reckon this will be a really close one and we cannot count our chickens and we're coming up against a desperate doggies, a hungry doggies. And this isn't about me saying, oh, I was right, look at me. But that is exactly what we got. Ed Richards decided, you know what, I'm fine. I've got all my little knocks and all the things that I was struggling with, they're out the window now. I'm just going to be the Ed Richards of the first month. He fucking turned it on. And then Bontempelli did Bontempelli things. I thought Sanders was amazing. Bailey Dale was amazing. We just let them run riot, Zorks. However, I've gone glass half full. I was doom and gloom after the game and the first 24 hours. And now I'm like, wow, you know what? We had so many players off. Those blokes had to run riot to give them a chance to win that game of footy. It's not all doom and gloom. We're fine. We've just set ourselves up for a bit of a banana skin this weekend.
Yeah, look, I was counting chickens, doves, pheasants, premiership points, flags. I was counting Dracula at that point. And yeah, it all came crashing down. Look, I was confident until the moment I flicked it on and I saw like the pregame, and I was just watching going, I get that feeling now. It was it's just that typical gross Sunday RV. You're playing footy in a shed, Docklands. It's hard to get up and about. It's undercover, but it's somewhat slippery, and they needed it. And yeah, as you said, their stars stood up, and we were just half a beat off the pace all day. That first quarter, we let get away from us a little bit.
Yep.
And we can look towards what happened in the last 30 seconds of play. But the reality is I think the game was lost in that, 7-minute period that Cozzy was off in the first quarter. But a good team can deal with that, right? And we are a good team, I think. I think we're a handy team. But if you were to say, right, Hawks, Dogs, you're going to go 1-on-1?
Yeah.
The way the chips fell, all right, I'll take that 1-on-1 as opposed to the other way around.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think my biggest frustration was we gave them belief. We gave them impetus. The number one thing I didn't want Melbourne to do last week was start slow. And we started slow. And even though we had the purple patch at the end of the second quarter, if I was the Western Bulldogs, I was still going into the dressing room going, well, we got hit by a few sucker punches there at the end, but we're in control of this game. So the amount of belief they would have garnered from the first half, regardless of our little spurt at the end, was the thing that probably pissed me off the most. Then, annoyingly, we get ourselves in at 3/4 time, and I thought our running capacity will overpower them. But we got absolutely dominated in the last quarter. They had forward half territory. We could not get the ball out. It was so annoying to watch the way that we were trying to move the ball from the back half every time we got possession of it. The Bulldogs were frantic in terms of their pressure. Don't get me wrong. Like, there was a lot of frontal pressure being applied. So there were a lot of hack kicks coming out of D50. But I was bitterly disappointed that we'd even gotten ourselves into that situation. That was my biggest thing. I was like, we're here now. It's an arm wrestle. There's 10 minutes left. This can go either way. And I was just saying to Marker and Maury during that fourth quarter, I'm like, we're idiots because we've got ourselves into this position with a desperate team on their home deck. We don't like it there. I'm never going back. I hate it. I feel done with it. I need a hiatus of my own. I need to just steer clear of the joint. It's not doing me any favours. I'm glad I wasn't there for the Naz game. But if you're Cam Burt, he has been there. These are his last 3 Marvel trips. It's north by 10 goals, into Naz after the siren, into the Dogs on the weekend. Don't go to Marvel again, Cam. And I'm not going either.
Not worth a trip.
I'm sick of it. I'm done. But this is the funny thing. Like, it's easy to sit here in hindsight and say this was on the cards. But when you take a step back, strip emotion out of it, and I was very emotional on Sunday night, and I was pathetic, to be honest. Check yourself, Horton. It's like, it's the Western Bulldogs fighting for their season, not fighting for their season, but fighting to get back into a position where they can threaten maybe still a top 6 possibility if they get on a run again. And it's them on their home deck after coming off an embarrassing loss to Carlton. So all those things considered, we walked in feeling 10 feet tall, we're the fun, dangerous demons, and you could tell in that first 5 to 10 minutes, to your point, Zorks, Melbourne are a bit off, Dogs are up and about, and it had that horrible feeling of this is going down to the wire. And I'm just frustrated that that's what it became because it didn't have to be that if Melbourne was switched on early.
Yeah, it was, you said annoying. It was an annoying game. It was a very last couple of years kind of game. At the moment we started slow, it wasn't as much watching footy. It was more like you're watching Tally with an impending sense of doom. You just know that it's not going to end in a flogging. It's going to end in this really frustrating way that it did. And give it to the Dogs, absolutely. But going back to what I said about it being annoying, and the only years I've really been annoyed watching the footy, last year and the year before that, really annoyed. And it was a lot of what was happening last year. You know, we were far too big up front. It was a lot of very high kicks into the forward 50 that just confused me. It just confused me, 80. I'm watching going, this isn't the team that we've been watching, but it obviously is. They're doing it consistently enough to know that it's obviously a game plan.
It was a directive.
But
there was no overlap run.
The
whole time.
Yeah,
It was
there's
strange.
good saying is like you learn more from your bad examples than your good ones. And I think that game on the weekend, similar to that 17-point loss against, was it Sydney? Different kind of game, but we're going to learn a lot, right? And if we take one thing out of that game, it's what we were doing to the Twin Towers up front, JVR and Harrison Petty. It does not work, right? I'm very much amazed, though, that continued on till at the very end of the game.
Yes, it was frustrating. They changed it in the second half where it was 2 pillars, not the 3. So Jefferson, Petty, Van Rooyen, they were just going with the 2-pronged. It worked a lot better. It actually worked perfectly because in the third quarter, we ended up kicking 5 goals and we looked like we were about to take the game away from the Bulldogs. The biggest problem we had in the last quarter is we just started to lose clearance at a rate of knots. And we were losing stoppage clearance all game, 34-19. We got smashed in that area. Gawn's tap work was questionable and strange. They'd obviously set up for that. Rory Lobb, I think, did a good job at times with Gawn. But when you lose clearance in the last quarter, it's hard because you're just gifting the territory game to the opposition. So all of those things meant that we couldn't get enough supply into our front half. And then when we had the game right there, we had the game. Jack Steele, maybe a lack of awareness, maybe not too many shouts from his teammates. But again, it's a bit of a cauldron in there. It's the last quarter. There's only 4.5 minutes on the clock. But if you watch it back, if they go inside instead of outside, Cozzie's got a paddock. Could almost just run it up with his mates. And then that is the sealer. We had the game right there and fair play to the Bulldogs. They were desperate. And it was Riley West, wasn't it, with the chase down?
Yeah, it was.
It was a great chase down.
He's a damn good footy player.
He's
very good. Look, when you're going to walk away from the possession game, which we have in the last few years, like we don't have leading possession getters on the ground much these days. You need to be precise and deliberate and perfect on the rebound, right? But also, it also can leave you open for when you're getting that behind. It really leaves us exposed. I think a lot of our games this year are going to be predicated on our ability to be accurate and then get the ball back to the centre after a score. Because I've noticed that coming from defensive 50, they were just, if you can just go faster than us at one stage of that 3 stages going from defense, midfield to offense, you might have us on toast. And look, some players in defense, maybe we learned a little bit about a few people in defense and their ability to defend, body, use the athleticism that they were recruited for that I haven't seen yet, CJ. I think those kind of holes, a hole that gaping in. Look, if you're not going to be a man on man, and you're going to be a run and carry, give us run and carry. I'm not seeing run and carry. I'm seeing someone that can't accelerate particularly quick, can't get to a top speed particularly quick, doesn't know how to use their length, doesn't know how to use their body, isn't particularly as like footy smart as they need to be. I'm sitting here looking at, like, I think that there were times on the weekend that I felt like we were playing with one less player.
It was questionable from CJ. I think aerially he got lost a lot. His kicking was actually good. He was clean. He went at 92%. It was just in some of those one-on-ones when he was exposed, he looked like a bit of a fish out of water. Now, we're recording this well before teams come out, and the teams actually won't get finalised until 5 o'clock tomorrow because we're Sunday specialists, of course. But Little Birdie tells me that these are the potential changes. So we have drum roll, Brody Myercheck.
Check it.
Yeah, Nick's happy.
D's legend.
Nick is pumped. And then we've got Trelly.
Great.
So great. We need a runner. And
Speed.
then we've got a second runner in Andy Moners Wakefield. So they're the 3 that come in apparently, and then the 3 that go out are Jake Lever with concussion, CJ, and Big Moose.
The Moose. Yeah. That makes that does
that's
unfold. If that does
that's it.
unfold, conjecture.
It's all conjecture.
That makes sense. CJ, start to work on the fundamentals of where to be in the game. I think that maybe just some more footy education needs to be had, and he can practice that in the twos. Max Heath, he's great. We love him. He's going to be good. He's going to be great for the club. But
He's had a good run.
But if we think that we can do it with just Max, and we can do it with just Max singular. Also with Moose,
There's another Max.
Yeah, Max Cute, Mapley, the Mape of Tassie. Not bad, that one. And obviously AMW coming in. Wait, who was the third omission we've got? Oh, obviously, Lever's obviously
Lever, concussion.
Yeah, Lever's concussed.
Yeah. From an amazing spoil. If we'd gone on to win that game, I think it should be highlighted anyway. We were down by 2 points at the time. It was an incredible spoil to get there. It was right in front of us, actually.
Yeah.
We were right there and we thought, wow, he looked no chance of getting there. It was a desperate act.
He makes himself long. He's got a bit of a go-go gadget about him at times. But getting to Max Heath out.
He should almost blame Harvey, because if Harvey had taken that mark and then kicked that goal, then maybe Jake would have got a shout out in the review. Look at this desperate spoil. This is what led to us.
He gets
winning.
the bag of chips in the canteen from the coach.
He can blame Harvey.
Determination award.
Wouldn't it have been amazing if Harvey took that mark, went back and slotted it through? It would have been the first time in our history that we kicked a goal after the siren to win a game of footy with fans in the stadium.
Bulldog fans. That'd have been funny. Yeah.
Because the first time we did it, we didn't have fans in the stadium.
It'll happen, and it'll probably be poetic. It'll probably be Harvey to do it. It would have been great if our number 4 lefty broke their heart, because I haven't gotten over 2013? 14? When he kicked that crazy on when Bond kicked that from the pocket against us. Never been so upset after a game.
Was that after a game? Was it on the siren?
It was fourth quarter, not long to go, and it was the most acute of angles.
Oh, I remember
Sickening.
that one.
Yeah,
that was ridiculous.
That mark, chest, not in, out.
Have we had? I feel like we've had one against Essendon in the square, St Kilda in the square at Marvel. I feel like we've lost a lot of games at Marvel at the death.
Marvel. Yeah,
as at the death.
There was a period of time. I think for a 2 to 3 year period though, we were actually pretty handy at Marvel. I think it was
we were. Goody got us going.
He got us going.
Goody's, if you actually look back at the winning percentages, we were a bit down at the G. We were good on the road.
Yeah.
We were good at Marvel. We're really good on the road, which I think is a mark of a good team, and it's definitely the next step in Kingy's evolution. So this weekend.
On the G, and we've turned that around. That's become our fortress, and good thing about Alice. Similar dimensions, similar, not too dissimilar whatsoever. Very similar. We can say that word again. Yep, very similar venue, 1-on-1, one sister venues, if you will.
Very similar venue.
I'd love to go.
Only there'll probably end up being about 35,000 less people there, which is great for us. It gives me nightmares, this ground. I think a lot of Melbourne supporters out there, particularly that Freo one where we lost by 92 points. The other one that absolutely kills me, I think off top of head, we kicked 6-16 against the Giants a few years ago.
Yep.
2023, I believe.
Yeah, and James Kelly?
Yep. Josh Kelly.
Josh Kelly, sorry.
Far out, man. There's something about this ground that just gives me the ick. And I can't shake this feeling this week of it's an absolute 50-50, and I can definitely see, again, this game coming right down to the wire. We don't have to win this game. It just puts us under so much pressure for those people that are desperate for us to at least make the 10. It puts us under enormous pressure to back up, win King's birthday, beat Essendon, and then get back on track. Be really nice to get this one.
Yeah, it would be nice to win that home game. It's our bloody sponsorship. It's our partnership. You know what I mean? You want to be winning those kind of things. It's better for the community, better for us, all that kind of stuff. Look, crowd won't be a factor. Good thing, bad thing, however you want to put it. Look, new year, new D's. Obviously, we've got Kingy. Has he coached there before? Not too sure.
No idea.
It might be his first trip over there, so fun for him.
Could be.
I'm optimistic. I don't think they played their grand final third quarter last week. I think if anything, what that game's kind of taught us more about is, man, I think who Brizzy is this year. That's really more what I took out of it. We loved our win against them as the season's rolled on a little bit.
Can't discredit it too much.
Absolutely not going to, but it certainly has contextualised Brisbane. Not our win against them, but Brisbane themselves.
Nick, you're getting brought in here. Do you think it says more about Brizzy, or do we just tip our hat fully to the Giants?
I think Brisbane have a few more issues than people thought, and very hard to back up a two-time or back-to-back premiership. So take that into account. I think they're just off the pace a little bit, but it was extraordinary what they did.
It was crazy to watch.
You're not going to see that again. GWS are a side that rely heavily on scoring from their back half.
They do.
The tsunami. So they were able to really use that to the fore on particularly in that third quarter. So that would be the key to shutting them down, because they don't score much from anywhere else on the field, from stoppages or from forward half. So that would be the key. But I don't know. I still feel like that was a little bit of an outlier. The gap between GWS's best and worst is far too big for mine to be a contender. So I think it's easier to shut them down if you get those fundamentals right.
Spot on. They are the defensive half team kings. He's right. If we can just put up the brick wall, I love what we did against Hawthorn. Hawthorn got to the point where they started chipping it backwards and sideways, and they just could not move the ball, and Melbourne were just on it. Everyone was in the grid. Everyone was talking to each other, communicating, making sure they're in the same position. So that is the template against Hawthorn, and we just need to make sure that boys are switched on. They know what they're doing defensively, because I completely agree. Now, the other thing that's great about Melbourne at the moment is our ability to then transition the ball once we win it back, because we got that in our armoury now. So as long as we don't give up too much going that way. And then I think from a midfield perspective, we have to talk about Clayton. So Clayton was enormous last week. He was so good to watch. Now that the season is settled, now that I know that we're fun and exciting and it looks like we've potentially got a bright future under Stephen King, all things point towards that at the moment, I'm now starting to enjoy watching him. Initially, I wasn't enjoying it because I was like, oh, fuck, I don't want you to do too well because I miss you and I love you. But now I'm really enjoying it. But I tell you what, Clayton on the weekend is going to be really interesting, because there's a young man by the name of Tom Sparrow who's come up, stepped up in his void that he has created. And I think if you're Tom Sparrow, you'd want to prove to Clayton that I should have been in here full time, mate, and I should have been given the opportunity. So those two going head to head, I think it's going to be super, super fascinating to see. Not only that, just the byplay with all his ex-teammates, Gorney, all the other boys that he's got a strong relationship with. It's going to be really, I think at first it'll be pretty funny to watch them. But I think once we get into that second half, I think as Melbourne supporters, we're going to want to hope, like, fuck, I hope this isn't vintage Clayton Oliver coming to get us.
Yeah, look, we love Claz. 37 touches last week. He'll put on the lights, camera action for the boys. They'll do it as well. They'll get into each other. There'll be a bit of that. Interested to see if he has a look at Stephen King or not, because that'd be an interesting interaction, should they. But as you said, classic Clayton Oliver game also means classic Clayton Oliver habits and tendencies. And if we can just capitalise on those unforced errors or those sloppy kicks or those Hollywood handballs to people under pressure that he's still kept in his game. Like, we've all kept a pretty close eye on him, as you said. 10
turnovers last week.
Like, when you have it so much, but, you give it away against a team that frankly didn't want it. It might be a bit of empty calories there in the numbers. It's going to be good. We've got, I'm really keen, as you said, keen to see Sparrow with Clayton and say, hey, the reason why I really wasn't developing in the last few years is because all the air was being sucked out of the room by yourself and CP5. And now I've got a bit of time with the midfield.
CP3.
Yeah, CP3, yeah. Well, the real CP3, he retired without a ring or anything, Chris Paul. Might be emblematic, even though, our boy got his with us, but he won't get anything with Gold Coast. I'm very keen to see how our midfield plays out with Clayton, because I think someone like Sparrow's going to get less disposals. It'd be amazing if he got more, but I think he'll have less disposals, but we'll really see that we've cut the fat from our game. And I think it's going to be a bit of A/B testing next to each other going, that's yesterday, this is today. As you said, you kind of ex-player, like an ex, you don't want to glow up too much and not ahead of you and blah, blah, blah. Well, we've got that right in front of us here. So it's Tom's time to shine. And if he's got clear leadership aspirations within the club, he'll imprint his mark on the Clayton midfield and the game.
I haven't had much experience with this, with like exes and whatnot. Been in a very long-term relationship, but I could imagine Zorks when you see the ex, let's say maybe it's been a year or so.
Yeah.
When you see them, you're making an assessment on the spot. Have they improved?
Yep.
Have they gotten better? Have they regressed, and have I gotten better?
Yeah.
It must be a very interesting situation.
You need to lie to yourself. That's first thing. You need to be able to lie to yourself on the spot and just wash yourself with that delusion and say, no, Tom Sparrow is the future. I'm happier with Tom. But yeah, look.
What about your own personal experiences in that regard?
I've had a few.
How does it feel in that scenario?
Well,
We're trying to draw some comparisons here.
yeah, I guess we are now. Oh, there are times, you look over and you go, oh, there's a ring on your finger. You're like, cool. No worries.
And there's a baby in your tummy.
Yeah, no, I had a couple of those too. But you know what you do? You know what you do? You realise that looking left and right just hurts your neck, and you just look forward, and that's growth and that's wisdom.
Exactly.
And you carry on your own path. Because
Nick,
it's only yours to walk.
Nick, did you had an experience?
Yeah.
Have you had an experience?
My two ex-girlfriends
Here we
have
go.
since had children.
Ooh.
Congratulations to them.
Yeah, good on them.
Yeah, that happened to my little brother as well.
Yeah, honestly, I
She
think
moved on very quickly. She settled down with some bloke, and within 18 months, she was pregnant. It
frankly,
happens.
after about a year, like nothing feels like anything. You're just like, okay, whatever, move on. But in that year, it's turmoil. Heavens.
Yeah, I can imagine. Look, I can't really speak from experience. That's why I went to the other boys in this room. But anyway, we move on. We digress. We should probably go to the DMs. Roll a few DMs, listen to a few of the people from the weekend, the emotions of the Bulldogs' loss, relive it again.
Hopefully we have Rat King. I miss Rat King.
Rat King would be great. Rat King, if you're out there, please come back. Also, just a quick one on the DMs. There's been some editorial advice from Chase, who's here behind the camera. Chase wants us to ham them up. He wants people to send in poems and songs and just get quirky and get weird. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah.
Yep, that's what he wants. So
Manifestos.
yep, if you're out there sending in DMs, it's not to say we don't love them and we appreciate them and you are taking the time to send them in, but like, let's ramp them up.
Yeah, it's showbiz.
Yeah.
Showbiz, baby.
Go full showbiz.
Break a leg, Nick.
Because you're going to get Tub. Tub doesn't exist, but that's okay.
R.I.P. Tub.
Fake Tub.
Fake Tub. Before we get back into it and we keep chatting D's footy, I've got to give a big shout out to Revo Fitness because honestly, $9.69 a week is honestly outrageous value for a gym membership. And I feel like more people should know about it. No lock-in contracts, no hidden fees, just rock up and train. Free weights, cardio, functional training, it's all there 24/7. So you've got absolutely no excuse not to sign up.
Oh, unless it's 3:15 on a Sunday.
D's footy.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. And if you want to go all out, $3 extra a week gets you unlimited Reformer Pilates, massage chairs, and eVolt body scans. $3. That's it. They've got clubs all over the country, so there's likely one near you. So jump on at revofitness.com.au. That's revofitness.com.au or head to your nearest club. Where were we again?
No idea.
Great.
Well, we're starting on a real high here. This is the Pressed Jake.
Oh,
Oh, my God.
Rick.
Oh, my God.
Oh, fuck me.
He just saw his
Fuck me
ex.
indeed.
Pregnant.
Well, don't want to blame it entirely on the umpires, but look, they did have a hand in it, Some calls weren't paid. Some calls that shouldn't have been paid were paid. But you know what? I think it's time we need to start looking past Van Rooyen. He ain't our key forward. He's not turning into the key forward that we want him to be. You can't miss 20, 30 metres in front, on a slight angle, you know. It's just like, it's a joke. And, yeah, nothing to say. Go D's.
Tough. That's a hurt person. He didn't mean those things.
Well, the thing I would say on Van Rooyen, look, it's an interesting one with him at the moment because clearly he's a yo-yo at the moment.
Yep.
That's fair. He's up one week, he's down the next.
Yep.
I think most people got that. He's kicked 19 goals this season.
Yep. What, 6 round one? What was it?
Well, we're 11 games in. We've got 12 to go. Hopefully we play one wild card. So hypothetically, he's on track to kick 40 plus, right? So if the yo-yo continues, I think the yo-yo happens purely because he's still 23 years of age. And if you look back at it and you go, okay, he had a ripping game against 5 of these clubs. There were maybe 5 performances where he kicked 3 or 4 plus in each. But then he had his down weeks where he doesn't register. He only kicks the 1 and he's a little bit anonymous. I would stomach that personally. I'm okay with that. That is absolutely fine. I think at this point in time, he needs to get past 40. 40 is the minimum for me. So 40 plus goals, yes, he goes missing some weeks, but he has other weeks where he's a serious contributor, serious influence on winning games of footy for us. I think from a development point of view, that is absolutely fine. The trick with Jacob next season, if he were to do that, which I think he probably will do, is how he bridges his best and his worst and he ramps up to becoming a 50-goal plus player in the competition. But for me, Zorks, I actually think he's tracking okay. I'm not putting him in the concerned camp yet, and I'm not really that concerned. That's where I stand with him.
No, likewise. Up, down, true, has been that at times. This year, though, the peaks and troughs they're closer together. Well, the troughs more or less. The peaks are higher, but his floor has raised this year, right? And I understand, players miss goals when they, probably should have this, that, and the other. But he's also kicked a good amount of wicked snaps this year as well. He's been a bit of like snaps Van Rooyen this year. And when you kind of factor in, he's kicking these goals, but on the weekend, yeah, he didn't hit the scoreboard as much as he wanted, but he was doing some really good things up on the wing.
Ground ball.
Yeah,
he's got better at that.
He really has, and he's like, he doesn't look so lost when he's up the field a little bit. He understands his role. He took some really nice flying marks on centre half forward that I was like, you're a centre half forward, you're a full forward. Like this is actually what you should be doing. Not every only a handful of teams in the competition have a 2+ every week kind of person. In the games that he hasn't found his way to goals, well, our avenues there haven't been through Jake that week though. It's been other fellas just bobbing up, and it's like, how many times in the last month or 4 or 5 weeks have we looked at the game and gone, oh, shit, we kicked a massive score, and you look at JVR, it's like, oh, 1 goal, 0 goals. It's not as necessary for us to have him be such a pivotal role in the forward line. And although the numbers on paper don't, say, oh, he's doing all these great things, our numbers on paper, the Melbourne Football Club, and our ability to kick goals and kick a score is there. And there's a 40-point turnaround in how many more points we're kicking this year. So I would say with JVR, don't look at his individual output, look at what he allows for the rest of the team to do. And it was a very disappointing game on the weekend. We lost by a few points.
Yeah.
Right, with the opportunity to win it. So
Yep. And we've got a big spread at the moment. It's a very even spread in terms of goal kickers. Harvey Langford, 16. Sharpie, I think, 14 or 15. Ruse got his 19, as I said. Chandler's maybe up in and around 13 off the top of my head. Like there's Friday's got 13. Like, there's a real spread of goal kickers. I'm not concerned. Nick, neutral, is Jacob Van Rooyen on the right path?
I actually just agree with you two on what you've just been speaking about. For the last few minutes, the inconsistency only becomes a problem when they're 5-6 years down the track. I wouldn't be too concerned. He's got some great people around that forward line that, a particular Collingwood Premiership player that can, help
Yeah, that was coming.
Why
just
did I
train
ask
him and, prime him up to be the great forward he can. He's got great potential.
He does.
He's got great potential. So I agree. I wouldn't worry too much yet, but I agree with you, Zorks. The floor is definitely raised with him, so that's something you can look forward to.
Jake, depressed Jake, that was clearly you sending in that DM. He's behind the camera here as well, big Demon supporter. Is he on the right path? Shout out. Yep. And Chase? Ooh.
Hard man to please, Chase.
Chase. He's just shrug of the
I
shoulders.
don't mind that its own segment. I'd like to dig into that sometime.
Jeez, we'll be getting him on the pod very soon.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay, next one.
This is Trell in, Windsor out.
Well, I reckon the Windsor in was not a good call. He seemed, based on all the stats, underdone. Going at 0 tackles for the game is pretty abysmal. Potentially having Trelly out there in those dying minutes might have been the deciding factor to get us over the line. But certainly costly early. I'm sure you've discussed it. A few opportunities when Petty missed that one right off the get-go, it kind of made me go, all right, we're in for one here. And then, to bring it back late and to have it as close as it was good. But a bit disappointing to see the mark at the end there, not paid to Harvey Langford as well. Definitely was there. Why doesn't the arc stop and look at that and pay that? And a few late free kicks. You had Cross that was bleeding from the nose. If you're bleeding from the nose, mate, it's because you've been hit head high. But, hopefully we take some learnings from it. It's always nice to take learnings from a game that you win, especially when it's close. But onwards and upwards.
Few things there. Number one, learnings.
Few learnings, yeah. Some old habits die harder. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say thanks for sending it in, but get it out of your vocab.
Yep.
That's all right. I got shudders. Love all the takes. Windsor, completely agree.
Yep.
60% of game time, I think, and wasn't bringing the heat. Did look underdone. Silly decision in hindsight by the footy club. We have plenty of options that could have come in for him. So that one, absolutely concur. The Langford one, I went back and watched it a few times. It doesn't matter. Like, you've lost. 4 points have been handed over. It's the Bulldogs. They've claimed them. You've got 0 in the bank. You're not going to change it. I've done this before with football games, the round ball before, and you can't change it. And I've learnt over time, don't go back and look at it because it doesn't matter. Who gives a shit? Like when Thibaut Courtois had the game of his life against Liverpool in the Champions League final a few years ago and he got man of the match.
I know that guy.
And we had like 11 shots on target and he was a superhuman between the sticks and the very reason we lost that Champions League final. Why did I put myself through the dread of rewatching all of those saves? Moron. It doesn't change anything. But I went back and had a look. And the funny thing for me is it looks like it gets knocked out of his hands at the final point. It looks like he has control and then it gets knocked out at the very end. The problem we had, I never saw a reverse angle ever. I never saw one. I never saw one on Demonland on the forum. I never saw one on Twitter, X. I never saw a reverse angle. So I actually don't know. Like some people like it was a clear mark. We never got a reverse angle.
Yeah. And
Did we? Did you see one?
No, I didn't even watch a replay, but I don't need to. I subscribe to the idea that don't let a loss beat you twice. Once you've lost, you get to decide how you get to decide how many times that loss beats you, right? The moment I saw it dropped, I don't need to see a replay. What's done is done. That is like, we need to focus on what the next thing is. Yep, that was the moment that the game hinged in the balance, but to the start of Trelly and Windsor's Out's message, it was the early game, right? Our chickens came home to roost in that goal square, and whether it was knocked out or not, you know, it was one of those chickens that I must have miscounted.
Yeah, I'm just the dickhead that says, don't go back and watch it. Don't put yourself through it. And then I still do it.
Yeah, that's sadistic. I get upset enough. I straight away, I was like, straight into something else.
No, that's the Navy talking. That is your military training talking. Just get on with it.
You simply need to. You just got to stiff up a lip it and carry on, right? But only thing that made it worse was like, all right, you know, the game's over, whatever. And then bounce comes on and you're like, oh my God, today just got worse again. Tell me. So
it's a worse
I can't even have it on in the background. I'll be accountable for no ratings of that show.
The single worst show almost ever created.
It must be a favour to someone.
It's up there with Waterworld.
Yeah. Is that Kevin Costner?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey. Oh,
it is.
What a connection.
It is terrible. It is shocking. It is so bad. How's that for me with pop culture? I'm not a pop culture guy, but I rip one out there.
On that though, to Trelly in Windsor Out, Trelly is not a possession player. I think it might have been Scotty said a while ago, he's a moments player. He's someone that the defender needs to be accountable for in a way that you're just not accountable for when you got Caleb Windsor there, especially underdone. Caleb's a fantastic footy player and he will continue to be a fantastic footy player. He was underdone. Trelly forces the defender to second guess themselves, have their head on a swivel, because him and Cos do this little magic trick where one just disappears and then they just bobs up around the corner and you're like, how did you do that? And it's like, well, it's like the prestige. It's like there's two of them. Great to see.
No, he would have been very good. Well, he comes in this week, which is great. Paddy Cross getting his head taken off was just absurd.
Yeah. Wasn't that a boot to the face?
It was just a head. They're both going down for the ball and he smacked him in the head. It was ridiculous. And then an obvious free kick. Anyway.
What did you just say? Don't let a loss beat you twice? Yeah.
No, I'm just reliving
That's our new motto.
Okay.
Oh, I love that.
Two more to finish. This is a very short one from Lauren and Brendan.
The blind long bomb kicks forward have returned.
We hate Marvel. That was fucked. But we love Harry Sharp. The end.
Yep, Marvel sucks. I hate it. And Harry Sharp is brilliant.
Tag Team DM's cool.
Yeah,
More of them.
Cool. That was cool.
More of them.
We backed that in.
We're on their podcast.
Yeah, that was very nice. But Harry Sharp, very, very good. That last quarter chase down tackle, another one that probably would have got highlighted in the review. Very good from Sharpie, and I think it from that play led to the goal where Langdon got us ahead with 5 minutes left. So again, if Half didn't drop the pud, they could have been doing the same thing with Jake Lever, highlighting that little moment. These are the things that won us the game, boys. But anyway.
Last one. This is anonymous.
Oh.
Guys, hi. Upset about the loss on Sunday, but today has been very sad. I've been a Dee supporter all my life. And I just wanted to say, and I think one of Neale's, and you can ask any player, when he was diagnosed with MND, Neale said, it's not me, it's we. And I just wanted to leave a message to let all our supporters know, and the heartache from everything we've gone through, losing special people. I think we need to take a step back and understand that this is bigger than all of us. And what Neale left, the legacy he left, I'm absolutely gutted. But I think we need to actually understand and take pride in our club. Yes, we lost on the weekend. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah. It's absolutely spot on.
Well said, Anonymous. There is a greater thing.
That was beautiful. Whoever sent that in, thank you very much. You're right. Lost a game of footy. The clip that Nick played off the top. You lose a game of footy, who cares? Get on with it. What's the next thing? Where do you find the positives? Glass half full. I needed that on the weekend. I'm putting my hand up. My post at full time. Fuck, get over yourself. That's a stupid loss. We're idiots. Blah, blah, blah. You lost by 3 points, Melbourne. You lost to a good team on their home deck who were desperate. It didn't click for us. You nearly won the game. You nearly stole it. It's Stephen King's first year. Who cares? Yeah. Just relax. Bit of perspective. I lacked perspective on the weekend, and it actually really annoyed me. I dwelled on it in the next couple of days after, and I thought, no, mate. We're in the top 6 at the moment. Got a great young crop of players coming through. We've got some great mentors with some senior players. We've got an amazing coach at the helm. And that DM, again, that was sent in. Neale, other things in life, things that are bigger than football, what we will get to celebrate next year, the life of Neale and Fight MND. We lose our heads in the moment. I'm guilty. I did it on the weekend. I think I've been pretty calm throughout most of this season. We lost that one, but we go again, get on with it, fair play to the opposition. But sometimes we just need to just remember, we love this thing dearly, but it's a game. We can't control it.
Yeah, and the underlying theme to all that's just the best remedy for when you're feeling that way is gratitude. And it's exactly what, Neale, that was his message as well. What he does have, what we do have in our lives, on the footy field and within the club, and the gratitude of, as Anonymous said, we, not me. And I think that this current crop of players, if there's one thing that I can see, it's that they are a we. They're a you before me group of players. And I think that they'll continue to, or they will honour Neale moving forward through that motif.
Also, you lose the side of, hang on, you're 33 points down. You rally. You hang in. It's not working for you. You're getting pulverised in the last quarter in terms of forward half game. Bulldogs are just at us, and it's they should have probably put a nail in our coffin. We probably shouldn't have even had the opportunity that we get at the end. The players could have rolled over. They probably would have rolled over in previous years, but they got to work. They got back into the contest. And that was another thing that Caden McDonald articulated beautifully on the review show. And I sat there and I went, fuck, he's right. These blokes will go to the well. And that's what I love about this team at the moment. They're very spirited, and I'm really keen to see some spirit on show in the next couple of weeks to honour Neale. Hopefully they can get it done on the weekend against the Giants. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be tough. They've got some bloody good players, Toby Green and Jake Stringer. It'd be interesting to see how we go about navigating those two players. I think Blake Howes is someone that'll step up on one of them for sure. But I think the next 2 weeks, I don't want to call them season defining, but we're going to be in a very, very interesting position after the next fortnight, because we either lay ourselves a platform with all the possibilities in the world of top 6 if you win the next couple, or it doesn't go our way. It's not the end of the world. It just means we're in a scrap for a wild card, and then we probably just got to take a step back and go, well, hang on. Where were we in Feb? Where were we at the start of March? And just remember, this is going to be a process. It's going to be a journey. It's the first year under Stephen King.
Yeah, no one's expecting a flag this year or a prelim, right? 9-4 is a very different complexion to 8-5. Much different complexion to 7-5. Whether we are a top 6 or not a top 6 team solely hinges on the next 2 weeks. Not because of a win-loss, because if we are a team and we are who we might think we might be, then we take at least one of the next 2 weeks, and ideally we take 2. Because I think that we are further down the like Collingwood and GWS are more on the tail end. Like they're about to hit proper rebuilds in the coming few years. Where should be ahead of them in that sense. And yeah, we've overachieved a little bit this year so far. But what we've seen is that we can go 9-4. We can beat these two teams. And these banana skin games that, that every club has. Every club has their bogey teams. Every club, loses games that they shouldn't. I think you enter the bye, at 9, maybe 8 and 5. You set yourself up really well second half of the year. But to your point, we were never, like a lot of people didn't have us out of the bottom 4, right? Just remember where we're at. And if we can, snare a few really good scalps, and look at the quality of wins that we've had this year as well. Our wins are worth 1.2 wins per win, as far as I'm concerned, due to how young we are and the teams that we have beaten. So, look, we lose the next 2. All of a sudden, it's 3 on the trot, and there's that mid-season young team skid. It's how you can rally after that. I don't anticipate that, touch wood and real wood. But you just get the job done this week at your home game against a team that you really should be beating.
Should be, but only just, in my opinion.
We've responded well this year.
We have. We've responded emphatically, to be honest with you. It's probably the most pleasing thing about this team at the moment. So just to wrap, Briggsy against Gorney. If it is 1 out, no Moose giving him a chop out, I think that's really big. Finn Callaghan is an absolute jet.
Yep.
So he's someone that I think we're going to have to really think about this weekend. I think Oliver can have a straight shootout, for want of a better term, with Steele and Sparrow. And then Aaron Cadman and Turner, Disco.
Yep.
That'll be a fascinating matchup for me. Buckley will come out this week. He got injured, but I believe Taylor's coming back in, which is great. What a player he is.
Yep, good.
But then again, it's just don't let them do what they do best when they get the tsunami happening, their defensive half game, their transition game. So Melbourne, if they're on and they're disciplined and they're focused on restricting their run from the back half, then hopefully we can have a repeat of what we saw against Hawthorn.
Yeah, I think our game styles are quite adjacent, GWS and ours, and even Hawthorn's. We faced Hawthorn, stacked up against them. And I think that when you share a similar, philosophy and game style, you need to beat those teams because there's no point having the same philosophy as someone else if they're just going to be better than you at it.
Spot on.
Yeah.
It's true.
So, and that's what this week is, right? It's righto, we're both punchers. Let's see who can, let's start swinging haymakers.
I like it. Prediction. Nick, we're going to come to you first.
Predictions.
Predictions.
D's by 14.
Yeah, you think we got the edge slightly?
I think GWS had their big win last week. I don't see them backing it up, but it'll still be close because that's just how it goes.
That's right. What about you, Zorks? I'll wrap us.
Yeah, I'm thinking a 20-point win for us. It'll be one of those, but it'll be between 13 and 28 points all day. Maybe they get to within 2 points at some point, but I think it'll just be one of those bank it, cool, happy, saw good things. They asked us questions, we answered it. I don't really think we're going to have a superstar on the day. It would be boring to say someone like, Cade or Cozzy, but probably either of those boys are pretty damn good.
Probably. I think Bailey Fritsch needs to step up.
Yeah.
He was poor last week. He's on notice for me. I want a big game from Bailey in particular. I think we'll win by 4 points.
Oof.
And I think we'll kick a goal in the last minute and it'll come from the boot of the number 4.
Oi, Harvey.
And he'll get redemption for last week. There we go.
That. Or my check. That'd be fun.
My check would be perfect. Yeah. Thanks to everyone. Thanks for the messages, of course, the DMs. Ramp them up to Chase's point. Go nuts.
Theatre.
I want to see some colourful ones coming in next week. And, of course, we love you, Neale. Thank you for everything that you've done for the Melbourne Football Club, the nation. We're going to continue to celebrate his life and his legacy, and we look really forward to next week doing the podcast ahead of Big Freeze 12. On that note, go you Demons.
Go Days.